Greetings, world, and welcome to the 2018 JAMMY Awards.
JAMMYS!
The JAMMYs are back. Yes, we've been on hiatus mainly because I've been a busy dad, and Germ has been killing it doing, voiceovers. He's the voice of Pizza Hut, the voice of NBA Year 1, Season 1. You can find him on the recent episode of FBI on CBS. So he's been a very busy man, but it's still mainly my fault because daddy duties always take over. But we back for the JAMMYs.
Yep.
And
third edition.
Yes,
third edition.
Year
Third
3.
annual.
Yes.
That's right.
And this year, we brought the prestigious JAMMY Award.
That's right.
Which is basically just a Oscar ripoff that I got off of Amazon for like $5 and some Jamaican wristbands around it. Because that's what's official. That's how you know the JAMMYs are official now.
Get it,
right.
Jammy. Get it,
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, you with us now.
Yeah, you with us now.
Yeah.
So you see what we did there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for this edition of the JAMMYs, we're gonna have a 5-part series. So this is series 1, and on this one we're gonna focus about wrestling. The 4 categories we're going to talk about in this edition is MVP of the year, Most Improved Wrestler of the year, Match of the year, and Show of the year. Or they don't really call it pay-per-views anymore. So shows, events, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So let's start off, Jerm. Let's start off with Most Improved Wrestler. Who is your Most Improved Wrestler of 2018?
All right. First of all, welcome back, y'all. Man, it's been a while. Yeah. Second of all, man, welcome back, this dude.
Look,
man.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I made time. I came over.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we still went to the bar to watch WrestleMania. We still keep it old school. We still keep it pure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Most Improved Wrestler. All right. Mm-hmm. Now let's just say it right off top. We complained about this in our one podcast this year, previewing WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This has been a down year for WWE. We're just gonna call this a wash.
Yes.
All right. From the viewer's perspective. Yeah. All right. Business wise, they made a killing. We'll explain that.
Yeah.
That'll probably come up
in one of the other various shows.
All right. But they still didn't create any real new stars. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So that's still a problem that we have, and I'm sure that most of you who are wrestling fans, who are real wrestling fans, real loyal, throughout the years, I'm sure you all have this same beef. Right. So you kind of have to go to the well. You kind of have to hope for a repackage or recycle, just some sort of lightning in a bottle, right? And I saw some things. I saw someone start to come up on the horizon, start to get some past due, start to earn some street cred, some love with the universe. But then this moment which wrestling can do better than any other medium of entertainment, in my opinion. Something happened that was completely organic, accidental, and yet it just skyrocketed this person to a new height that we didn't think was possible. This person probably didn't think was possible. And it all happened on November 2nd, on Monday Night Raw, when this person decided to come from a brand and take over Monday Night Raw, annihilate the whole roster, come onto the ring, get concussed, and get a broken face. That part is not planned. No. And then bled like she was chasing waterfalls. And then you're thinking, okay, this is not what's supposed to happen. What, should we panic? And then I saw something that I haven't seen since WrestleMania 13. I saw, going back to Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I saw a whole pendulum shift. I saw a culture shift. I saw someone all of a sudden become a new Stone Cold, packaged with a new Bryan, but in the package of an Irish female last kicker. Yeah. So my most improved wrestler of 2018, unanimously, is the man, Becky Lynch.
Yes. That's a very good pick. That was one of the people that I was thinking about too. Becky Lynch has had an amazing 2018, and like you said, Jerb, she kind of rose up from being kind of just like a utility player, someone they would put in once in a while, but it was still clear that Charlotte, especially in the beginning of the year, Charlotte, Asuka, Ronda Rousey, Sasha, those were the main players, and Becky was kind of to the back burner, but she gained momentum throughout the year, and that episode of Raw where she came on The goosebumps I felt, like that was like something from like the Yes movement from Austin 316.
Yep.
It was just like something that it just happened, like, because someone, if you get, like, I don't know if you guys have ever been concussed or had any kind of like major injury to your face. Like I have once, and it sucked. It's like you don't want to get up, you don't want to do anything. So for her to not to get concussed, get a black eye, get her face pretty much broken, and then get up, her face bleeding, and still beating the ass of every other woman that's in that ring was an amazing sight. And something that like immortalized her, and she's going to like ascend the ranks even more, I think now. So that's so the jammy for that.
Yeah,
There you go,
yeah. Becky Lynch. This is well deserved because first of all, WWE they gave you the chip, right?
Yeah.
That's as much as they were going to do for you. They thought, okay, problem solved, right? But then you flipped it on them. Then you went heel.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Then you started cutting promos and showing the people how you really felt, and that you can't, as a wise philosopher, Dr. Shaquille O'Neal once said, you can't fake the funk on a nasty dunk, all right? Once you got that, you bought some Reeboks, you laced them, you pumped them up, and then you said, you know what, I'm just going to tell y'all how I feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if it's real, we know it. We're going to buy it. That's not just wrestling. That's just any form of entertainment. Authenticity will always sell. And then when you got concussed and you got literally, no pun intended, knocked out of Survivor Series, that made you a more empathetic figure, all right? So your stock grew without even having to wrestle Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
Now we have something to look forward to next year. Main event, WrestleMania here in New York.
Yeah.
All right, I'm calling it now.
Yep.
We've been calling it for 2 years now.
Yeah.
The female should be the main event. They should close the show. We've been calling it for at least 2 years now.
Exactly.
But now, woo!
Exactly.
Woo! Shout out to Ric Flair. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And there's no better place to do it than in New York at WrestleMania 35. Like, because New York, progressive city, and you know that the women have deserved this for all the work. And you're going to have Ronda Rousey, who's one of the biggest stars, period, in the world in that main event. That's going to put a lot of eyes on WrestleMania. So you know that the company is salivating for that main event. And I think it's definitely going to close the show at WrestleMania 35, Becky against Ronda. So my most improved wrestler of the year, I was thinking about Becky. Becky's going to come a little bit later on some of my other rankings. But for this one, I was thinking about someone who started to gain momentum last year, started to make a name for himself last year, but this year I feel like he's like took off into another stratosphere and is now like to the point where other like big time wrestlers are talking about how he's the future of the company and he's like the guy that's going to lead them into the next era. And the guy that I'm talking about is the Velveteen Dream. Because this dude, last year, he had a great match with Aleister Black at the TakeOver War Games that made a lot of people go, oh, wow, this kid is legit. Because he already had, like, an interesting character with the whole Velveteen Dream thing. But in that match, he showed that he can go in the ring. And then this year, he just further proved that by having amazing matches with, like, Ricochet and, like, with other guys, like, that have been mixing it up. And he's, like, shown that, like, and that match he had with Tommaso Ciampa, the last one, was just, like, near 5-star classic. So this kid can go in the ring. He's super young. He can cut a promo. His character is on point. And I think that he is going to be the future of this company. He's basically, like I can't even like describe what he is. He's like Goldust, but like a better, like younger version that's like even more freakishly athletic than Goldust was in his prime. So I just think this kid's going to go to the stratosphere. So my 2018 Jammy, most improved wrestler, Velveteen Dream.
All right, good pick. And you know what I like about him too? He is the epitome of improvement.
Yeah.
If you saw where this dude started, tough enough.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, look, man, I deserve to be here. I own WWE DVD sets. Do you? Like that was his whole thing. And now he's he's getting it. He's getting it. And whatever they're teaching him, whatever they're putting down, he's picking up.
Yep.
All right, and he's picking it up fast. He's utilizing it. Yeah, I see it now. Now I see it. Sky's the limit for this kid. Good pick.
All right, so next category, we're going to go for 2018 Match of the Year. So, Germ, what was your 2018 Match of the Year?
I'm going to surprise you with this one.
Okay.
See, normally we agree on stuff, but I'm telling you, this year's going to be totally different.
Okay.
All right? So, at the end of each of these, how many you choose to watch? If you watch them all, thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
Thank you for learning how to use the internet just for us.
Just for us. Thank you.
Just leave it in the comments, man. Just leave it in the comments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? All right. Who won the year? Was it me? Did I get it right? Did he get it right? Or did we both strike out and you think like you got it right? Just let us know. We're all in this together. You know what I'm saying? My match of the year. I'm telling you, you're not going to see this coming.
Okay.
All right. So, my match of the year is going to go 2, and it's a match I wasn't even expecting. I didn't even know it was on the card. All right, I was in the middle of a nap, and like woke up like, oh snap, this card is on, and then I just turned it on. All right, so and then I'm like trying to like fast forward and like rewind because I don't know what matches I missed or like how many matches are even on it.
Yeah.
So WWE Superstar Showdown.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I'm looking at the card, and then I'm like, okay, Cedric Alexander, I know him. But for some reason, even though I knew nothing about this cat, there was a buzz about this dude who looked way too big to be on 205 Live, but at the same time, like, you know, he's still under 205 pounds somehow. Buddy Murphy.
Yeah.
And, like, hometown kid, like, all these things, like, came together, and it's not even just that Buddy Murphy was the new kid on the block and he won. They had this incredible match, and Cedric Alexander was a long-reigning champion going before it. So, yeah, so on the low, WWE did a classic storyline with a build-up and a big crescendo on a big show and a big match, and it worked.
Yep.
So sometimes, sometimes it's just good to go back to the basics, and they bumped and they worked their ass off. So that's my match of the year for just pure entertainment value, just athleticism, storytelling. The big win at the end, because I always say when you win your first championship, that emotion is never faked.
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Murphy, WWE Superstar Showdown. That's my pick.
I must say that I am very surprised by that pick. Because, like, I know that you watch the different shows and stuff like that, but I know mainly you like to focus on, like, the main event guys, the guys that are, like, taking over the scene. You appreciate the cruiserweights, you appreciate the other ones, but I know that you always love the spectacle of the moment, like, the big things. So, like, that, to me, is a surprise pick, but it's a very good pick, because I love that match also. That was easily the best match of Super Showdown, and, like, one of the best matches of the year, because the story built in. And Buddy Murphy, he was also on my list for potential most improved wrestler, because he went from being an afterthought in NXT after his tag team with Wesley Blake broke up, and he was just floundering for forever, and then they just threw him on 205 Live, and nobody thought anything of it, and then he just kept having all these amazing matches, and people were like, "Holy crap, Buddy Murphy is actually really good!" Like, and they didn't even know it, because like they buried him on NXT forever and never even used him. So that was a great match, and one that was also within my top 10 for the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
You thought that 205 Live belt was your real treasure this year? Nah, bro.
That's the one.
We just gave you our jammy.
Well.
Take that phrase, however you want to take it. Take it was probably not a good choice of words either, but we are awarding you with the 2018 Match of the Year Jammy. Yes. You too, Cedric. You held it down all year.
Yes. A great champion all year. So my 2018 match, then there was a lot of great matches this year. Even though WWE had a down year, one thing that they always do is provide great matches. There was also great, and you know me, I'm the wrestling nerd. I look at all the promotions. I look at New Japan. I look at ROH. I look at even Impact. I'm one of like the 2 people left in the world that still watch Impact. So like I watch all these promotions, and there were a lot of great matches because Impact's improved, ROH has improved, New Japan is on another level, and NXT is like killing it. Like there was a match with Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, where he took Okada's belt, like in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which is one of the most amazing matches I've ever seen. There was a bunch of great matches in NXT, a bunch of great matches in ROH, but ultimately the one I had to go with was from very early in the year of 2018. And it was a match that I was expecting to be very good, but I did not expect it to be as great as it turned out. And the match that I'm going with is Johnny Gargano against Andrade Cien Almas at TakeOver Philadelphia, because the way that crowd was behind Johnny Gargano, he's turned heel recently, but at the time he was a face. It was like Daniel Bryan reborn during the Yes Movement. That crowd was insane for him. They were dying to see that title change in the hand of Gargano. And the way that the match was built up was that the near falls like had the crowd eating out. That's the great part about a great wrestling match. When the near falls like make you bite on every single one of them. Where something as simple as like a DDT, you bite on it because they've built it up. The exhaustion, the physical stuff that they put into this. Like even a basic move you believe could end the match because they put so much into it. And that's how I felt watching this match. I had no idea who was going to win. 1 second I'd be like, oh, Johnny's going to win it now. He has to win it now, and then he wouldn't. And then I'd be like, okay, Andrade got it now, and he wouldn't. And it was just back and forth. And then they had the whole thing with Selena and Candice LeRae, like coming in. And then Tommaso Ciampa attacks him at the end after the match is over. And it was a perfect storytelling, perfect match to me. So that's my 2018 Jammy Match of the Year.
All right. That is a not surprising pick, but yet a very interesting pick. Because all right. See, this is the thing. I still feel some type of way about Gargano and Ciampa splitting up. I still don't like it. To me, it feels like because everything that you're saying about Gargano is true.
Yeah.
But that's what they do. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like watching This Is Us, right? Like you're gonna cry, like you're gonna feel all the feels. It's like how?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost in that sense. It's kind of, I'm not going to say it's predictable, but it's kind of like you know what's going to happen. Like you even though you get to that sort of emotion, you're not surprised. You know what I mean? So like I feel like it almost feels like these two, it was like, damn, well, we're doing so well. If we stay this way, we're going to move up to the main roster. I don't want to. You know what I mean? But do you want to move up to the main roster? I don't. You know what I mean? So, how are we going to milk this NXT thing longer? How about we go singles?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But I think that, like, and I get what you're saying, but it's like, for example, the Rockers were an amazing tag team. They were great together. But if they didn't split up, you wouldn't have had Shawn Michaels, a single star. Like, the Hart Foundation was a great tag team, but if they didn't split up, you wouldn't have had Bret Hart, the single star. And I think that these two guys, like Gargano and Ciampa, they have the talent to be great single stars. Maybe not on the main roster, but in NXT, they're going to be, like, or even if they wind up putting them on 205 Live, these guys have the tools to be, like, main event players that are putting on fantastic storylines, fantastic matches. And I think there was only so much that they could do together when it was like, and did they rush it, the breakup? Maybe they rushed it and did a little bit too soon. But I think that the end result, like the rivalry that they had this year, proved that it was probably the right decision because those guys just like they know how to tell a story. Ciampa's probably the best heel in the business right now because he lives and breathes that gimmick. He goes online and he curses out fans and he like tells and he acts like a true to life heel, which you don't see a lot of because a lot of heels on TV nowadays they go on social media and they talk about like the nice things that they do or whatever. They don't heel it up. Ciampa lives the gimmick. So he's like one of the best heels going today, and Gargano, until they turned him heel, was probably the best like babyface in the entire business because he's like the crowd just like wants to see him win so badly. So I think that I get what you're saying. Like them together was great, but I think them apart is going to like further ascend both of their careers.
I mean, I just think the main roster it shouldn't be this way, but it's like NXT is supposed to be the developmental place, right? And then the goal is the main roster.
Yeah.
But for some reason, especially in the past year, maybe 2 years, NXT is where you want to be. The main roster is the wasteland. All right, so you put in all this work in NXT, and then you go to the main roster, and then it's all for naught.
Yeah.
They've been around the block, and the difference with most of these NXT guys, not the ones that WWE plucks out of nowhere that are young, not the Velveteen Dreams, but these dudes have been on the indies for years and decades, like the Ciampa and the Garganos and them. They know how this business works. They're like, yo, if we go to the main roster and put WWE, in charge of us, we're done.
Yep.
We're done. So they know. They'd rather stay and make NXT like the WWE funded indie brand.
Yeah.
Which I think is smart for them. It's probably not even what WWE wants.
Yeah.
But I'll bet you anything. Jason Jordan, Apollo Crews.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like Cable. Oh, I bet you all these cats still wish they were in NXT. Hell, Tyler Breeze just came back. So,
it's true. It's like it's kind of crazy when you think about it, but NXT has kind of become like the third unofficial brand.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys in NXT, like whereas before the goal was always, I want to get to the main roster. I think a lot of them are realizing they don't have to get to the main roster because the network has like 2 million subscribers. They get 2 million people watching their stuff every week, like on NXT. They still are getting over. They're getting popular. So and they're still making a lot of money. Not as much as main roster money, but at the same time they don't have to travel like the main roster.
Exactly.
They get to stay in Florida. They travel maybe 5-6 times a year to tour, and then they don't have to spend as much money as the main roster people because they only have to travel like a couple of times a year as opposed to every week. So I think for a lot of them, they're realizing NXT is a good place to be. You get exposure, you make a good amount of money where you can provide for your family, and you get to still do your art, do your craft that you like to do. So. But yeah, like I get what you're saying with the whole Gargano and Ciampa situation, but I think those two guys are just like amazing singles performers, and maybe we'll get a DIY reunion in the future. Who knows? They're both heels now, so we don't know. Maybe that'll lead to they split up, they come back, and maybe they'll run amok in the tag division in NXT pretty soon. All right, so next category. Let's do pay-per-view or show event of the year. So what was the best wrestling show that you saw this year, Jer?
Man, I've been underwhelmed all year, bro. Can I just say it?
Yeah.
Have I said it enough? All right. So when I don't have any clear-cut favorites, I always go back to this. When I look back at the year in hindsight, what am I going to remember? What's going to say 2018 to me?
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't have any standout matches or a lot of them, then everything's just going to blend or just not be that memorable. Mm-hmm. So it's all about what is memorable. Yeah. All right. So if you don't have the things that you enjoy for entertainment purposes and has the word that I think that I coined, which makes a lot of sense, replayability. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then you think about impact. You think about impact. You think about moments. You think about stuff that will actually help you going forward when you look back. Like, oh yeah, I remember that they did that. Mm-hmm. I'll remember 2018 as the year that they really, really, really put a real year-long focus in the women's division. Mm. So when I think of 2018, all the pay-per-views were the same. You know what I mean? There weren't that many standout, 5-star matches to me. Yeah. So the show, and I had high hopes for SummerSlam, but they WWE softened the whole Miz Bryan rivalry. Yeah. So I had high hopes for that, and they let me down. So my show of the year, to me, is the show that's the most important, and that would be the fact that they had a first ever all-female pay-per-view. Yeah. So my show of 2018 and the Jammy, with all respect, goes to Evolution. Yeah. Great pick. That was also one of the pay-per-views I was thinking of, because Evolution, and the thing that's so interesting about the Evolution pay-per-view was that when it was first announced, people were excited. When the card started to come to fruition, people got less excited because they thought that the card wasn't really stacking up, that the dream matches they were hoping to see at Evolution, Sasha Banks against Trish Stratus, or Lita against Bayley, these were dream matches that people had thought of in their mind, and this is what they want to see at Evolution. And when those didn't come to fruition, they were like, what the hell is this? This is they're just saying this to get women, and this is going to be a great pay-per-view. But it was easily one of the best pay-per-views of the year. The Charlotte-Becky Last Man Standing match was one of the 5 best matches of the year. It was incredible. Even the main event with Ronda and Nikki Bella, you could talk crap all you want to about Nikki Bella. Some of it is deserved and some of it isn't, but she busted her ass in that match, and they had a really good match, where she made Ronda look really capable and a real legitimate champion by the way she put Ronda over. And Ronda did her part and sold Nikki's offense and gave respect to the stuff that Nikki's done in the past. She didn't just wipe her out. So I thought that they had a really good match also. And then you had matches that showcased the future, Io Shirai against Toni Storm, and Kairi Sane against Shayna Baszler. So you saw the future of the women's division also, while you celebrate the past with the match that had Lita and Trish in it and all that, and the present with Charlotte and Becky and all that. So I just thought it was a wonderful pay-per-view. I was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end, and that's few shows this year I've watched was I entertained from beginning to end. There were some that they might have had bright spots, but there was others, but then it'd be down moments. Evolution, from the first second to the last second, I was entertained the whole time. So that's a great pick for show of the year. My pick for show of the year, this was a tough one, because it came down to a couple. I was thinking about New Japan, because they had their Wrestle Kingdom 12, which I thought was a great show when Chris Jericho had a great match with Kenny Omega. The Naito against Okada match was great, so I thought that was a great show. Evolution, like Germ said, I thought was a great show. But the one that I had to go with, and the reason I go is because it's the only show that I could think of since probably WrestleMania 10 that had 2 legitimate classics on the same show. And that show that I'm talking about is TakeOver New Orleans, that happened over WrestleMania weekend. Because not only did you have a bunch of really good matches like Ember Moon against Shayna Baszler, and you had Aleister Black against, Andrade for the title.
But then you had two legit classic matches. That ladder match that they had that had like Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, Adam Cole. That ladder match was one of the best matches in WWE history. It was amazing. And then the match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa was just like everything that had been built up for like almost the last year. It was like a year-long storyline. I think, and WWE doesn't really do that anymore. To have such long-term storytelling that from the time that Ciampa was injured in TakeOver Chicago the year before to nearly a year later, like 10 months later, they played that storyline out perfectly for WrestleMania weekend. And it became like, and it was like an amazing match, and it led to a great rivalry, that took over most of 2018. But I think that that's why I have to give TakeOver New Orleans my show of the year, because it just, from top to bottom, it was great, but it's the only show I could think of since WrestleMania 10 that had two legitimate classics on the same show.
You know, I should have guessed that. He picks NXT TakeOver every year. I think it's every year. I think it's now every year.
But it's because the TakeOver shows are so good. It's like if the main roster shows stepped up and provided a TakeOver. And the thing is that the main roster shows have the talent. They have more talent than NXT. So it's like, and there's so many shows that the main roster have where I look at the card and I go, wow, this is going to be an amazing show. And then they'll have like one of the matches last like 5 minutes, or they'll do some crap like they did with the Brock and Braun match where like Corbin attacks him before, and it's like a 2-minute match. And I was looking forward to that match because I thought it was going to be Braun against Brock, they were actually going to get it on this time. But no, it's like shenanigans once again. And I get that with WWE, because they're the main roster, they have to play the long-term storyline. So sometimes like you're going to get disappointed in the matches because it's for the benefit of the greater good down the line. But sometimes it takes away from the value of the overall show, because people will be hyped up to see a certain match, and the match will end like with a disqualification, or with like it'll end like in 5 minutes and like over some nonsense. Oh, so it's like it takes away from the overall impact of the show. But I think what NXT does amazingly is that they are able to continue their storylines, but still every takeover that they have, the matches live up to the hype. And for WWE, the main roster, it's very rare that the matches live up to the hype anymore. Like, we still have a couple of matches that live up to the hype, but it's not as frequent as it used to be back in the day with WWE.
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't say you was wrong. I think it just more proves the point that that the main roster is now the wasteland. You know what I mean? So like, y'all need to step your game up.
Yeah.
All right, and not just for Saudi Arabia paydays.
Exactly.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah. But supposedly Vince is coming on Monday to shake things up. So we'll see what's going to happen. Maybe.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
I just feel like every time the ratings start going down, that they have Vince come to shake things up. But hopefully there's an actual shake up, and they start like focusing on the guys that have. Because like when you look at that, like Seth Rollins did a promo on Monday, and it was like kind of like that fiction but speaking reality thing. Yeah. Where he said, this is the most talented roster that we've probably ever had, and you're wasting them. And I was like, damn, he's right. Like this, when you look at that roster that Raw has, and SmackDown's been getting better, but if you look at the roster that Raw has, there's no reason it shouldn't easily be one of the best wrestling shows of all time. That roster has some of the best wrestlers that have ever lived on it. At the same time, you have Rollins, you have Ambrose, you have like even guys like Elias, Lashley. You have like a ton of talent, and you're just wasting them in like weird storylines, and just like, so if they actually focus on the strengths of these guys and made them do what they do, it would easily be one of the best products that WWE has ever produced.
I mean, just the fact that there's even a GM-elect Baron Corbin. It's
like,
what more do you need to know?
It's just like, out of all the things you could use Baron Corbin for, why would you have him in a general manager role? It makes no sense.
Because he reminds you of Kane? Mayor of Knox County?
And also part of that tag. What do you think of that? Detour. What do you think of that tag match that was between? Because that's definitely not going to show up on any year-end list. But that tag match between Triple H and HBK, and Undertaker and Kane. Like, what did you think of it? Because I saw that some people like hated it. Some people thought it was okay. So I'm curious of your thoughts.
Dog, you think I actually watched that? I like this, man. Like, look, I'm a man of my word, right? Do what you say what you mean, right? Yeah. No, So, Sean, if you retired, bro, what is that? And you're going to do that for Saudi Arabia? So, like, do we Do we have to go into this, man?
Yeah,
okay. They have a 10-year multi-billion-dollar deal with Saudi Arabia. So these shows are going to keep coming.
Yep.
No matter what you protest, no matter what you say, no matter what they're doing over there. All right? All this stuff is going to happen. All right? But we know this, all right? So this is taking like Smart to next level, cuz this is now like actual hard real news.
Yep.
Right? Even John Oliver took him to task, right?
Exactly.
Like this is all right, so this is next level.
Yep.
And WWE's like, but they paying us though.
Exactly.
They're paying us in billions though.
Yep.
So
at the end of the day, that's what WWE cares about. They care about the money. Like they say they care about the fans, and I'm sure to some extent they do. But at the end of the day, if they're getting money for these Saudi Arabia shows, and the thing that bothers me about the Saudi Arabia show isn't just like the political aspect of it, but it's just the, like you said, like Shawn Michaels, who people have been wanting to see come out of retirement for years. He had like a ready-made feud with Daniel Bryan ready years ago when he cost him a match at Hell in the Cell against Randy Orton. He's had other opportunities to come back to the ring. He refused, and he was like, "Oh, I respect that the Undertaker retired me. I'm not going to come back." Then Saudi Arabia comes out with these billions of dollars, and all of a sudden he comes back and he's like, "Oh, I just had the itch to get in there again." Come on, Sean. Be honest. Say yes. They threw a bunch of money at me, so I did it. And it's like, I could kind of understand that. But it's just like, it's creating these scenarios where they're now trying to dictate storylines in Saudi Arabia because they're like, we're giving you all this money, so we want to see these guys. And they're taking away like opportunities from younger guys to feature these old dudes that shouldn't even be in the ring anymore. And they're legends. And I love them. I love The Undertaker, Triple H, all of them. I appreciate everything that they do. I still listen to Kane's theme song like on an almost daily basis in my iPhone. So I appreciate, yes.
And he's a dad.
Yes, and I'm a dad, and I still listen to it because I love that theme song that he had. I think Breaking Benjamin did. I don't know who, but I love that song, and I listen to it, and I appreciate everything they do. But I don't want to see them wrestle anymore. Your time is over. It's over. Like, let's focus on the young guys. Let's do that. So that's my rant at the moment. So let's.
Do you sing your daughter to sleep the Kane song, even though the song needs to have lyrics?
It's the one that's like da-na-na, da-na-na, and then he just like yells some rather. I have no idea what he's saying, but I love that song, and I listen to it like on an almost daily basis. Yes, that and the Aleister Black theme song I'm now listening to a lot as well. So like yes, I have wrestling theme songs on my iPhone, and I listen to them. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I don't mind that. You don't think I feel good going on the subway every day listening to Glorious? Like I get it, but can't. That's just angry and Infernos. That's a whole different thing. I'd rather feel Glorious.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
You know,
that's true. Maybe I'll add Glorious more into the rotation than Hellfire and Brimstone. But let's get to the last category for this session, and that is our wrestling MVP of 2018. Who was the best wrestler of 2018 overall? So, Jerm, who do you got?
All right. And I'm going to, and don't worry, this is going to make sense. All right? So, like I said, we're different. He's more of the wrestling nerd, right? I'm more of the insider. I'm more of like how does wrestling, is it pure art? Mm-hmm. Is the art good? Does it actually make a blip on the pop culture radar? Mm-hmm. And who are these men and women for real? Yeah. Right? So that's all I'm about. I'm all about like authenticity, are you memorable, replayability, mm-hmm. Is it gonna get you some love in the streets if you bring it up or acknowledge it? Back when we were in school. Yeah. That kind of thing. Way back then.
Yes.
So I'm giving the MVP to someone who not only held it down all year, not only to someone who I feel had the weight of the world on his shoulders all year, mm-hmm. even though he was not perfect. But what we found out is that he actually, not only is he the man on the screen, but he's actually the man in the locker room. Mm-hmm. So, when Roman Reigns revealed to the world that he's battling leukemia, mm-hmm. we used to say about him all the time that he needs to find a way to show us who he really is. Mm-hmm. Now, it's unfortunate that this is what it took. This is what it took for him to do that.
Yeah.
All right, that's not something we'd wish on anybody.
No.
But But through him doing that, one of the things that I did not know, on top of that, was how much respect that he had from his peers and the legends. So for those of you who have been saying for years that he's been pushed down our throats, he's been pushed too far, too much, too fast. Yeah, maybe that was true 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But this man has been the main dude for at least 2-3 years now. Cena's gone part-time. He's headlined, I don't know how many WrestleManias. He beat The Undertaker, like all these things. Like whether you like it or not, he is the guy. And it's not just on the ring, it's not just what the announcers say. He's the guy in the locker room. He is their leader. So to me, nothing describes a most valuable player more than all those qualities and all those intangibles and all those attributes. So to our man Joe, Roman Reigns, get well soon. You've earned our respect. You've earned this Jammy, and hopefully this is not the last time I get to give you this award, bro. So do what you got to do for yourself. Get well soon. Health and family is always most important. But 2018, you were the guy. You were the guy, and you deserve all the good things that come your way, brother. So Roman Reigns, my MVP. MVP Jammy.
MVP Jammy. So that was so well put by you, Jerm, that I almost want to change my pick for MVP because I thought about Roman Reigns for some of the reason that you said there, but the way that you said it so eloquently is it's so true because a lot of us wrestling fans have complained about Roman Reigns being shoved down our throat and feel like he's taking away opportunities from other guys and all that. But I think what people don't realize is that there's a reason that the company put their faith behind this guy, and that's because not only is he great in the ring, he's also a good guy behind the scenes and a guy that people want to rally around. Because that's also important. You got to have a guy as your main guy that people want to rally around and believe in. And I think that the hatred towards Roman previously was just that they felt that he was being overused and taking away opportunities from other ones. But I don't think you can ever question the man's talent. He's had great matches with pretty much everyone that there is to have on the roster, whether it's Cena or Styles or Bryan or whoever. He's shown that he can go in the ring. And even though he might not be a top class promo guy, he still has shown that he has the goods in that department. And I think what happened on that day when Roman Reigns came out to announce that he had to leave for cancer, there's the hatred or hatred I'll say, because I don't think anyone really hates Roman Reigns the person, Joe and Noah the man. I think that people hated the character, but I think that people learned to respect the man and how he's been able to deal with all the backlash and everything and push through and still be a leader to that locker room and let them know this is what you do. You go out there, you bust your ass, you don't care what how the fans treat you because they're coming to see a good show, and you do everything you can to put on a good show for them. And in that regard, Roman Reigns always did his job, and I hope he gets well soon. I want to see him back because I know that he has a lot more to give us in that ring. So amazing pick for MVP. Almost makes me want to change my pick, but I'm going to stick with my original pick. And my original pick for MVP of the year is someone who at the beginning of this year I would never thought that they would even be in the conversation for MVP. When I was thinking about MVPs around this time, I was thinking of AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, even Daniel Bryan, who came back, and had a great year, especially with that recent heel turn he's done and been doing phenomenal work with it. So Seth Rollins had a very good year, climbing back up the ladder and showing why he's just a great all-around wrestler.
He was my runner-up.
Yeah, so these were the people I was thinking about. But then when I started making my list of MVPs, the one person that stood head and shoulders above the rest just because of the amount of buzz that they generated, the amount of emotion that they generated in the wrestling universe, and that person is the man, Becky Lynch. And that's because Becky Lynch started the year as an afterthought, just okay, Becky Lynch is there, she's a good hand, we'll throw her in when we have to have a feud with Carmella, the women's champion Carmella. Yes, that actually happened, and they're we'll just throw Becky in there to try and build up Carmella's credibility. Becky was being used as more someone to build up who the WWE brass wanted to push. But then something weird started to happen. The fans started to kind of revolt against that because they liked Becky. They saw that Becky was good in the ring. She's great. She's a great promo. She's entertaining online, whether it be Twitter or Instagram, whatever. People follow her. People like her. So when they saw that she was constantly getting pushed to the back, people started to chant for Becky. Even in matches that Becky wasn't in, people wanted to see Becky. And then what came to a head is at SummerSlam when they had the match, and then Charlotte wins the match. And then Becky goes, oh, nice guy Becky, who always, like, does the right thing. And she snaps and, like, attacks Charlotte. What the WWE was expecting was the fans to go, oh, boo, Becky Lynch, we don't like you anymore. You turned on Charlotte, your best friend. But instead what happened was they were like, yes, Becky Lynch, it's about time. Kick this entitled girl's ass because you're the one that deserves this run because you're the one that's been busting your butt for years and doing it. And then the whole heel turn wind up putting another spin to her character the same way that with Stone Cold back in the day. He was a heel, but he got over because he didn't give a crap about what anyone thought. He just came out. He did what he had to do. He kicked ass, and that's what made the fans love him. And the same thing happened with Becky Lynch. She said she didn't care. She don't care. You want to cheer me? Great. You want to boo me? Great. I'm just coming out here and I'm beating ass and I'm going to get this SmackDown Women's Championship. And then it just grew. Every week you can see more and more signs for Becky. More and more people cheering for Becky. And it's like something that I haven't seen since 2013 with the Yes Movement, how that was slowly every week was getting bigger and bigger. Or the birth of Austin 316, where it said Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. And then every week you saw more and more Austin signs and more people cheering for Austin. And that's the same thing that's happening with Becky now. So that's why she's getting my 2018 MVP. Let me just adjust the Jamaica on here. The Jammy, my 2018 MVP Jammy, because the type of support she garnered and the type of emotion she elicited in the WWE universe, even though I hate that phrase, but in this context is correct, it was amazing. And I love seeing it. I look forward to seeing what she does in 2019.
Right. Okay. So, all right. I'm not mad at that. But see, but that's why I didn't give her my MVP because I think it's all about her 2019. Mm-hmm. I think she arrived in 2018. I think she's the most interesting of 2018. I think she's had the best story arc. Yeah. But all the good stuff is recent. So she hasn't had a run on top. She hasn't been like the man. She hasn't carried yet. She hasn't even had a title defense. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping to give her my 2019 Jammy. It's kind of like when you give a Grammy to Best New Artist, and then they win Best Album. Like, see, I told you, I saw it coming. All right, so I'm waiting for her 2019 to give her my MVP. But I get it. Yeah. Either way, one of us is right, one of us is wrong. Somebody won this. So that concludes the first segment of the 2018 Jammys WWE style. So let us know in the comment section. You can hit us up on Twitter. Instagram, you know what I mean? GK Williams NYC. I can never say his.
Jules XMW. That's JULES XMW.
Right. So that's probably that's his handle and radio frequency apparently. Oh yeah, man. So so hit us up. Let us know. Remember, we're on this together, wrestling fans. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
One love.
Exactly. All right. So until the next segment, you know what I mean? Hit him. You know what it is. You know what it is.
I forgot. What is
Come on, man. Jamaican Alpha, man.
Oh,
come on, man.
Jamaican Alpha. You see?
Man,
I told you. I've been with my kids so much, I forgot what the hiatuses are killing us. But Jamaican Alpha.
Out. Man.